right, here we are. Sorry about the delay. You know how I can gas here.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? This is fine.
And good afternoon, everyone. I am Kathleen Taylor at the Nevada Women's Business Center, and it's my pleasure to once again have Jada Willis here as our guest.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Absolutely.
We had a fantastic radio show program yesterday for Business Basics Radio at KKVV radio station.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Yes, and it was just so dynamic that I'm so glad that you're here to do a live stream webinar as well to continue talking about a professional style for success.
Absolutely.
So I'd like to share with the audience your background, and then we can just flow with the convo.
Okay.
All right. So, Jada Willis is a Las Vegas native and is the key personal stylist of Tailor St. Style. She earned her MBA from Florida A&M University, FAMU, and then moved back to Las Vegas to work in the hospitality and gaming industry in 2007. She was working for both Bellagio, then Wynn, Encore Resorts as a hotel analyst. She gained a vast amount of knowledge about delivering personalized service in a luxury market. With a desire to play in women's closets for a living, which is great, Jada started Tailor St. Style to help guide women into dressing like the superheroes they are. I think that's fantastic. Jada received her personal styling certification from the acclaimed School of Style in Los Angeles, California. So, ladies and gentlemen, Jada Willis. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Kathleen. You know, it's always a good time when we get together. So I'm just excited to be here today.
Oh, wonderful. And if you could share with the audience the fantastic things that Tailor St. Style does, that would be lovely.
I would say at the end of the day that I have the pleasure of helping women look like the superheroes they are, like you mentioned. And I do it through personal styling, custom suiting, and wardrobe audits.
Wow.
And it's just, I have a heart for women, so I'm always just trying to find new ways to help my sisters in the community. And this is the most fun way I've found. And I really, really enjoy it. And it makes a difference when you get to see women look good and feel good and then turn around and want to do more and feel better about themselves, and just trying to spread that to other people. So.
I think that's wonderful. And what I really was impressed about during our conversation yesterday on the radio show was I brought up the point where I was asking you about, do you find there to be challenges with women or men with different body types? And you answered that, so eloquently. So could you expound upon how body type, certain brands, how you customize the style for the person versus looking at it as a challenge? You actually look at it as a, hey, let's just do this and that and the other. And it'll be fine.
I think one of the things you had mentioned is like, do you see a challenge in working with people with different types of bodies? And the challenge doesn't come with them. It comes with there not being enough brands that offer what they need. So I think about tall women and petite women and curvy women, and we have issues. I'm 6 feet tall, so sometimes we have hard time finding the right brands. And so when I get with my client, depending on how she's built, will depend on where I go to help her find exactly what looks good and feels good on her. The other thing that I like to do with women, because we all have different body types, and you got to be thankful for what God gives you. And I definitely support a healthy lifestyle and being your best you. Yes. But sometimes God blesses you with curves or no curves or just anything. And so customization, custom suiting, custom styling, all of that is really, really important so that you have the best fit for your body, no matter where your curves or non-curves are.
And you I think both of us, to a degree, said the word customization or customized style, and that doesn't necessarily equate to being expensive. So, could you share some tips about that?
Sure. When we do think of customized style, we think of maybe suits being done, you picking out the fabric and buttons and everything from head to toe. Yes, it's that, and that's awesome. It can get pricey depending on what it is that you want.
Right.
But you can also customize your own pieces, buying things off of the rack from your favorite department store or boutique and making sure that they just fit you in the right places. And that actually will make your outfit look a lot more expensive.
Ah, that's the trick.
So with me, I many times have had to have the hem out or have sleeves lengthened just so that it looks good.
Yes.
And when things look good, they don't have to be name brand. You don't have to be in Chanel or Dior in order to look good. You just have to make sure what you have is quality and fits you well.
Yes, exactly. And so, in reference to the business attire in business environments, could you explain to the audience the spectrum of style, so to speak, in reference to what does it mean to be business casual or corporate casual or evening wear or professional? I found that really interesting. I learned so much from you yesterday.
Well, I consider there to be a spectrum, and that's from the corporate, uber professional. Everyone is in black, navy, or charcoal gray. Everyone's kind of in the same tone. There's not a lot of flair. There's not a lot of fluff. All the way to a techie. So if you work for a tech company, there's really no dress code, and still one, but not so much. You can wear jeans, you can wear plaid, you can wear, Doc Martens if you like. And so there's this very wide spectrum. But I would say if we're going to start with corporate, I explained a little bit about what that is. But then you go to professional, which a lot of people who work in an office setting probably have one of the other. And that would just be a little bit more lax. You might see some more colors come into play, some tans, some neutrals for the ladies. Still a closed-toed shoe. You'll see dresses and skirts and pantsuits for the women. But there's a little bit more that you can play with. You'll probably see just a little bit more color underneath in blouses. You might see on a casual day in a professional office, maybe women, well, instead of jackets, will be wearing maybe cardigans, which takes me to my next point. Business casual or business ready probably has more of those elements a lot more of the time. So we talked about having more color, so you'll see more patterns, and you'll see brighter colors, and you'll see dresses that don't necessarily have to have jackets with them, all still at the knee or longer. I always at work recommend a closed-toed shoe, but you may see more cardigans. Again, there's a little bit more to play with. If you hear business ready, that means that there's a jacket somewhere you can pull on if you have to go to a meeting or see a client. But most of the time in the office, it's relaxed enough that you don't have to, have a jacket 24/7. The next one is actually a creative, where a lot of entrepreneurs or people who work in maybe fashion or edgy offices, maybe advertisement, where they get to express themselves a little bit more. So their accessories are a little bit more than just a dainty necklace or bracelet. Maybe they're doing a little bit more flair like I have today. The colors.
That's really creative.
Thank you.
A scarf bracelet.
I love scarves,
that's
and
really
I will find a way to wear a scarf.
That's awesome.
And you'll see this in creatives office. You'll see maybe some things that are a little bit more trendier, not necessarily a suit and jacket type environment. And then I explained what tech wear would be. But still, even if you work in the tech world, you're not going to have your midriff showing. You're not going to have you may see an open-toed shoe based on how casual or how stylish that office is. I spent some time in Facebook, and I
Wow.
saw a lot of cool styles
I
there.
bet.
But there's still some things that just don't fly. Like you're not going to wear a mini skirt with no tights underneath in the office. It's just it's not going to happen. But you get to know your environment, and you know what flies.
Now, speaking of trends, I found it interesting on the male side of things to go from a suit that fits well to the more body forming, tight, like jeans, like the skin when the skinny jeans trend hit, and now the suits and the slacks too. So how was that received in the business world with when it's trendy and it's okay to wear more form fitting clothes on the men's side of the spectrum? How was that received, since you have some insight about that? I'm just curious.
I would say that in my experience, even with the slim fit suits that men are starting to gravitate to, it's still a very much of a preference thing and very trendy. In the corporate offices and business offices that I have had the opportunity of either working in or traveling to, it's unless the body type really that looks good on that body type, it's just considered really trendy. And so a traditional suit is probably more appropriate.
Okay.
My husband actually has a really kind of athletic but like a smaller build.
Okay.
And so the slim fit is something that he prefers because it fits so well. So he's been actually able to take suits off the rack, which is very rare, and actually wear them without having them tailored. Now, if he gets a regular suit, he's going to have it tailored just because of his build. So it just really depends, but most of the time you'll see a traditional suit in the office, and the trendier suits will be saved for like after hours.
Okay. Interesting. I was just wondering about that. And how do you, I guess, in a politically correct or tactful way, whether it's a male or a female, if they are wearing something that's a little too edgy, a little too trendy, out of the box, so to speak, or maybe even in some instances just inappropriate, how do you tactfully address that to that colleague, or maybe it's someone you're supervising? Perhaps you're a business owner and you have your own brand, your own look, so to speak. How do you address that?
I think it's great, and I always, being a stylist, I always encourage people to show their individuality, and that's okay. However, we all still have to follow the rules, so you have to do it within the guidelines. So if someone is just dressed inappropriately at work, I think back to my days where I actually had staff, and I should say a lot of staff in a call center, and I had to address it. I think one of the things that I probably did was say, just pull that person aside, let them know what the rules were, because the rules are very black and white.
Yes.
Right? So then it's not a bias thing. It's not, hey, I just don't like your skirts.
Right.
It's more so, this is what the guidelines, this is what the code of conduct says. But another approach is to, if you're really looking to coach that person and develop that person, then you say, let them know, first of all, what are their great things. Hey, you have been rocking in sales. Your presentations are fantastic. I love the way you work with our customers, internal and external, and I just see that you have a future here. What do you see your future being here at the company? And if they answer in a way that makes it easier for you to have the conversation, and I want to grow, and I want to do this, and I want to do that, fantastic. I want to help you grow. And one of the things that I think can help you grow is just making sure every part of your presentation is complete.
Yes.
And that includes even your dress. And so I want you to be well received amongst people here in the company, the people that can move you up, and clients, and help you make more money. And I think one of the ways you can do that is X, Y, and Z, whatever the situation would call for. So that is my approach. Every situation is so different, and people are so different. But that's definitely a way that I would start.
I think that's excellent advice. Now, on the other side of the coin, and this is from personal experience, how do you deal with if you're on the receiving end, like I was, because in a former position when I was in Los Angeles, I worked for this company, and they had a very clear dress code. And I would dress in, suits, professional. I'm very, very careful when it comes to how I dress and present myself. I'm very conscious of that, so to speak. And at the office, there's this colleague, and she was a director over a program. I was a manager. And she would go out of her way of first it started off as a compliment as to how I would dress. Then it became more of an envious thing, more of a jealousy thing, that the way I was brought up, I'm from Louisiana. You dress, to represent the family name. This is how you were raised. When you walk out, our door, you were still representing this family. And so my wardrobe reflected that. It was really, really strange, where I was getting, in a passive aggressive way, I would say, to say, you need to dress down, because if anyone's going to dress up, it's going to be me, over here. So how do you address that dynamic?
That's a good one, and that's kind of a new one. I would say I always try to kill people with kindness when I can. Every day dictates something else. But I would say in that situation, just you look fantastic. You dress well, and I always appreciate the compliments that you gave me. And you might be giving me just a little bit of inspiration to, continue to be fabulous, and see how that goes. But I certainly, if it were to continue on, and the enviness and the jealousy, you just gotta let that roll off your back. And I would give that advice to any woman. If you are feeling good, you're dressing within the dress code, you feel great when you leave your closet. You stay in that confidence all day. You can't control how other people view you. You can't control how other people see you. All you can control is yourself. Right. And so if you are feeling fantastic and you're doing everything right, just keep shining. Yeah. Just keep shining.
That's great.
And other people will see that in you, and that positivity in you, and that you didn't let those comments kind of stop you or make you dress down, if you will. And other people will catch on. But it's unfortunate that people feel that way sometimes, where they feel like they're the only ones that should be able to shine. But I, and working with clients, want them to know, when you leave your closet, the world is your runway. Yes. Work in your confidence. Stay in your confidence, and let it guide you, and have a ball.
Great. So I'm just curious. From your own experience with your own, with the evolution of your own style, so to speak, what was that like? We're around the same age, give or take a few years. So let's kind of like go down memory lane. So like 20 years ago, where were you, style-wise, and how did you progress and evolve into this like complete picture? Of style and poise.
Who's tuning in, who's known me from before 20 years ago, they would certainly tell you that it's been an evolution. In high school, I was very much a I wouldn't say I was very much a tomboy, but I was
Mm-hmm.
always in sports. So I was always ready to go to practice and so on and so forth. Not that I didn't wear dresses because
Mm-hmm.
I attended church all the time.
Uh-huh.
So I had a very great, Sunday wear. But it wasn't until I went to Florida A&M University that I started to really kind of explore. And let me back up. I actually was a debutante.
Oh, really?
So, yes.
Wow.
So I was a debutante, and the ball gown and the
Wow.
etiquette and so on and so forth. So I got to embrace that a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
But then after our debutante time, I went back to basketball.
Uh-huh.
So when going into college, FAMU is also known as Fashion and Modeling University.
Really? I didn't know.
Not really, but yes.
I went to Grambling. I didn't know.
But walking on any campus of an HBCU,
this is true. I agree.
It is a fashion show.
Yes, this is true.
And so I
agree.
wasn't really used to that, and I loved it. I was very much intimidated, but I ended up embracing it, and so I would just continue to do things that I thought made me look good and feel good. I don't know if I always pulled them off, but yeah. But I love dresses and skirts, and I feel like I go through phases where maybe I'm really into jeans one time, and I'm really into skirts one time, and then A-line dresses. And that's kind of how college was. Sometimes I just want to be cute and comfortable.
Yeah, sure.
It was just a phase, depending on how many classes I had.
Yes,
but I also had
difference.
to wear a lot of business suits because I was working on my business degree.
Oh, very good.
So I had a lot going on in my closet. Once I went on internship actually in LA, and I was there for a short stint, and that too is the city is a walking runway.
Yeah, this is true. It is. I
And
agree.
it was at that point that I realized that, wow, I would really love to work in fashion because I was always in magazines. I really enjoy the fashion magazines. And so I still kind of had to figure it out. Went back to school, still getting my MBA, so didn't really think that much more about it. And then I fast forwarded to the time that I moved back to Las Vegas. I had an opportunity to play in women's closets and curate closets and figure out my own style and who I was now that I'm a graduate. And it's just kind of flowing.
Yes.
Last maybe a year and a half ago, I cut my hair and just trying new things, and it's just been so fun. So the evolution has definitely been there. It's much more fun to tell in pictures. Maybe you'll get that one day. Check my website. But it's certainly been a growing thing because I wouldn't consider myself to be fashionable at a small age, at a young age. Not at all.
Yeah, me too.
Not at all.
Yeah, me too.
So that's it.
That's really interesting. And when you say play in women's closets, is that like where your creative side comes into play? Your more customization for the client comes into play? Yesterday you said on the radio show, and I found this to be really profound. Everyone has a story to tell, and your clothes is a way of telling some details about your story. So could you go into that a little bit?
So what I was finding when I started playing in women's closets, I actually had an organization in which I would do clothing exchange events, and the proceeds that came out of those events would go to local charities or families in the valley. But we would have fashionable women in town, bring us their gently loved things, and I would go through either their closets or they bring me things, and I'd go through it myself. But I remember working with some women, and they had things in their closet that just seemed so boring, just for lack of a better word.
I have some.
Yeah. And I look at this person, I was just like, you have you live this incredible life, and you have this great job, and you're doing so much with your family. Your kids are fantastic. You're a fantastic mom and sister and this and this and that. But your clothes don't reflect it. Your clothes don't reflect it. And so playing in women's closets ended up being me helping them take pieces that they already owned and making new outfits out of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Excellent.
And so kind of seeing their closet in a different way, because we all get into the rut. Even I do sometimes. I put the same things with the same things. And I was like, come on, let's snap out of this. Today calls for something new. And so it was just helping that light flick on for them. Like, oh, I guess that is why I like this top, and it can go back with this. I just never saw it that way, and that's kind of how it came about. And again, as I continue to work with more and more fantastic women, I want their closets to reflect their fabulousness.
Yes,
you know,
sure.
And I don't want them to look like a victim. Because sometimes it's just like, you know what, this is not fun, and you look like you're not having fun, and you're doing so many great things. You are a superhero. Your story says that. So let's show that. So that's kind of where it came from.
I think that's fantastic. You know, I'm a big fan for thrift stores and, you know, going to antique shops, and for me, it's the search. It's, you know, the find, going through the whole process of, you know, going through, you know, this stack and that pile, you know, just to find that little treasure. And I found some fabulous pieces, you know, at thrift stores.
Amazing things at the thrift store.
Oh my gosh, there is this one I used to hit when I lived in LA, and it was near Palos Verdes, and it's one of those like little insulated communities, but very affluent. They had their own thrift store. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I was just over the moon.
I bet.
Oh,
There's so many good thrift stores in LA. And I can remember, like, anytime I would travel to LA, or even when I was living there, I'm just going through boxes and racks, and you just find great stuff. And that stuff, those are the things, and I'm really into accessories. Those are the things that kind of people start to know you by. So you notice my scarf.
Yeah.
I would find these great scarves, and they may not have been name brand, but they had so much character.
Yes.
And I would just find cool ways to wear them. He was like, "Oh, you're not wearing your scarf today." People would notice when I wasn't wearing a scarf.
You know, like your signature.
Exactly, like your signature. And I would find great pieces like that, great things that kind of felt like me, but came from someone else. Found it in a thrift store. Yeah. Somebody else was done telling that story, and I picked it up to tell my own.
Oh, I like that. Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. So I'm with you, sister. There, I get the love for thrift stores.
Thank goodness for the thrift. So this has been such a delightful conversation. If someone,
I always enjoy hanging out with you.
Oh yeah, me too. Me too. And what are like some pearls of wisdom that you'd like to share in closing? And also, please provide your contact information so someone can contact you for a consultation.
Well, starting with the nuggets, I can't say it enough, but I will. And that is, find your fabulousness. Find your fab. Hashtag find your fab. You can find a bunch of stuff that I've done under that hashtag. But I believe in it because we all have something that make us shine. And you just have to find it and embrace it. Because sometimes we know what it is, but we just don't take the time to embrace it, or we don't feel like we should. And you totally should. And have fun. Love who you are. Be unique. It's okay. The world wants more unique people, believe it or not.
I agree.
And then, as far as business etiquette goes and your dress, stay within your dress code, stay within your laws, but find what things you can do that, again, make you stand out and make you shine. And you can totally do that. I would love to help you. You can find me at Tailor St. Style.com. And I'm sure it's a pretty long name, so I'm sure that we'll have this posted with the screening. But I'm also on Facebook, and you can find me at Tailor St. or TailorSt.Claire, and that's Claire with an E. And the same handle goes for Instagram. And contact me. Let's talk. Let's see how we can find your fabulousness.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, it was such a pleasure to have, a superhero here, super heroine here. uh, and thanks again for your time, your double time actually. Yesterday with the radio show and today with the webinar. This has been
It's
fantastic.
been great. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions about our services at the Nevada Women's Business Center, please give us a call at area code 702-734-3555 or check us out online. We have free events such as the live stream broadcasts about various topics for entrepreneurship development. So check us out online at www.nevadawbc.com. And I'm Kathleen Taylor. Thank you so much for taking this time to tune in with Jada Willis, owner extraordinaire, savvy entrepreneur, snappy dresser, owner of Tailor St. Style. Hey, thank you.
Thank you.
Bye. Yay, that was fun.
That was fun. That was a great time. I don't know what happened. Like water started.